Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Lionel, and I'm your host for LT Productions, and you are watching I Watch You Watch. We are covering Sistas. This is season 8, episode 17. I appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Please like this video and also subscribe to my channel. And you can leave your comments below. Let's get into this episode. Okay, so we start off the episode with Jordan's assistant at Gary's office. We know when we left off, Jordan was knocked out because of what the assistant gave him, drugged him or whatever. So the assistant handed over some pictures that he took of Jordan while he was drugged out. And it looks like it's very obscene photos and a lot of sexual positions and sexual matters. You see him in a lot of, it looks like with prostitutes, male prostitutes, and Gary's getting all excited like a schoolboy or a schoolgirl for whatever reason, you know. It's like, dude, stop. So he was trying to be reassured by the dude. So Jordan didn't wake up during this whole process. He said no, he didn't do anything. So he wasn't awake or whatever. And he shows Hudson everything. Hudson looks at him. He's kind of cringe at it, but of course he's going along with it since he's a lackey for Gary. Jordan finally wakes up and he doesn't know what's going on. Andy comes by and she's like, "What's going on here? Are you okay?" Da, 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 da. Like, yeah, I didn't even have that much to drink. I don't even know why I passed out. So Andy offered, you know, let's take your mind off of everything. I'm going to cook you dinner, blah, 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 blah. She ends up leaving and all that good stuff. Sabrina and our favorite, Maurice, they're at the bank. Maurice is talking about his dude. He feels like dude is hovering over him. He used to being a hoe and it's just very new to him. And he says he likes him, but the adjustment is something totally different to him. Sabrina gets on her relationship with Rich. She feels a certain way about what Rich did to her recently. But then Rich comes by and she shoos off dude, Maurice, to go handle his business. Of course, he wants to stick behind, but he's at the teller desk, not really handling business. He's really trying to hear what Sabrina and Rich had to say. And I don't understand why Sabrina didn't go into her office, but hey, I'm not the writer or director. So Rich wanted to make sure that if we're good and all that. And she's like, I don't know, because it seemed like when you were questioning me the other day, if I was on birth control, it was like you were thinking I was trying to set you up or trap you. And Rich is like, no, that's not what I mean, da, 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 da. So Sabrina says, you know, I'm not for sure if we should really continue like this, even in my journey with IVF. My hormones are all over the place and da, 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 da. Rich says, you know, we're still good. We are going to just cross that road or cross that bridge when we get there. And Sabrina says, you know, at this point, I don't think that we need to be having sex at this time. And he's like, what do you mean? Like, no, I don't think we should do it. Well, can I at least give you kisses below? And she said, no. All that does is just really confuse the couple as to whatever y'all doing. I don't understand it, but whatever, Sabrina. You had your way out long ago when he said that he didn't want any children. And you went on and started doing this whole IVF stuff, which is interesting. But anyways, that's just kind of where they're at with the relationship. She's not totally blocking him, but at least the whole intimacy and sex stuff that can complicate things is out the window at this point. Tony and Danny. Tony, he's ready to have sex outside in the rain. Danny's more, let's do it on the inside. And then Tony lets the news out that he's going to be a little bit late because he's going to have dinner with the children and the ex-wife. And Danny's like, oh, okay. Can't I come with you? And he was like, I don't think that was a good idea at the moment because of how bad the divorce was. They're trying to give a united front through all of this. And Danny was like, that woman wants you back. Oh, I don't think so. You know, I think that she has someone, da, 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 blah, 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 blah. She says, that woman wants you back. Da, 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 da. I promise I won't be late. We need to do our little do later on, so stay up, blah, 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 blah. All right, so we move on to the salon. It's Pam and Trey, they're talking. Trey is very adamant on Pam getting her business together. And that's the type of partner you need. That's really going to push you, and he's a pusher. However, I'm trying to figure out Trey, because what type of other business you do? Because right now, you're a UPS guy. You got all of this push and drive for other people, and there's nothing wrong with being a UPS driver or whatever, but obviously there's more inside of you if you're able to push other people to do what they do. So now she has an investor, Pam. She has a she's passing out products now by the suggestion of Trey. She has a lawyer now that's been recommended by Andy. That's it. We know that she got a bank account, so it's cool. I want to say that I like Pam. I didn't think I did before because she was just so nosy and doing certain things that when I used to watch it, like, what are you doing? Then you bring Zach around to Karen and all this stuff. It's like, no, let them be. But that's the type of person I remember her to be. Of course, it's been seasons since I've watched. So Zach comes in, and Pam doesn't pay him no mind. She's staring deep into Trey, and he asks where Karen is. She's like, he's over there. She's over there. Like, now, you know, in any other time, if Trey wasn't there, Pam would be all up in the business, following Zach over, trying to hear the conversation. Anyways, Zach was warning Trey, you know, stay away from this one. No. So now Zach has a conversation with Karen. He's asking her how she's doing, and she's like, she's good. And then she talks about the twins. He asks, you know, are they kicking yet? She's like, yeah, at night. You know, I would let you know about that, but don't really want to deal with your bodyguard. Girlfriend, fiance, Karen. That's what that is. Teams that team up forever. So, I don't know. Whatever, girl. So, Zach opens up that him and Aaron had a conversation, and we are ceasefiring, and we're going to co-parent to make sure everything is cohesive. And then he suggests that Karen and Fatima get on the same page. And Karen's like, no. No. I mean, she is the girlfriend, wife, but I mean, Fatima's going to be around. There's no sense in having all of this hostility amongst each other. But whatever. So Fatima makes it to her job. She's in the parking lot, and she clocks Hayden and Miss Lady. Miss Davis? You know the lady. And they're looking very cozy. And she's clocking it like, what is going on here? So if her name is Miss Davis, I'll correct it next week or whatever. Anyway, she goes upstairs after getting on. Yeah. So then Fatima just clocks, what's going on here? And all he says, oh, nothing. She said that her driver could not make it and asked for me to drive her, to give her a ride. And she feels like there's something up, of course. He's like, oh, you just missed this D. And she said, all you got is a pencil D. Like, oh, God. How Fatima talks up Zach, like, why is anybody going back to you, sir? Tamara don't like you. She going on to Gary to get her fix. Just saying. Fatima calls Andy to let her know what's up. She's about 20 minutes out until she gets to the office. But she says that she saw Hayden and what's-her-face being cozy, and it looks like he dropped her off or whatever. So Andy gets to the office, and she's wanting to know what's up. They're seeing Hayden and the girl, Miss Davis, I think that's her name, getting very cozy, and so Miss Davis comes over and talks with Andy a little bit, and she said, I didn't know that we had this meeting this morning, but she says that her husband ended up putting something scandalous out there to the bloggers. And Andy said, I know that's got to be quite infuriating at this point. And she was like, it kind of is what it is. You can tell that the lady, her spirit is quite mellowing out. Of course, that same fire that she has is still there, but it's kind of been, I guess, put at a low key because she's got a little D. Then they do this whole exchange, her and Hayden, of acting like lovers. And then Andy's like, what is going on here? How come I wasn't informed there was a meeting? And then he says, you know, you can get the notes from my assistant. And then, of course, both Andy and Fatima, they have that exchange that they usually have all the time with each other. Then let's see what else happened. Maurice goes home thinking that he's going to find Grayson. Grayson's not there. He's calling and he's going to voicemail. He's like, am I blocked? I'm blocked. All of a sudden, he misses Grayson. But we'll get back to him in just 1 minute. So Tony goes out to dinner with the family. And the children ask, where is Miss Danny? And the wife, the ex-wife, gonna say, oh, well, this really is just a family thing and Miss Fanny can't make it. I said, hold up. What we're not gonna do, because nobody's disrespected you on Danny's end. So what's happening here, lady? So they're sitting there and she's like, isn't this so fun? We all together like old times, da 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 da. How about if we spend the night together? Like old times, you guys come cuddle up next to us, da 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 da. Yeah, Daddy, can we do that? Of course, there's a pause and there's no real answer. Of course, she also tried to spill something on Tony and be the one to be able to touch him to clean him up, lady. So what Danny actually said is actually true. You're not going to admit it, at least not in this episode. But Danny was right. Maurice, he goes and is at the club. And he's talking with his other friend about how Grayson just done left him, blah, 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 blah. And wants to begin him. And then all of a sudden he sees Grayson over there. And he confronts them. And Maurice is under the impression that Grayson is cheating. And Grayson said, no, this is one of my coworkers. Well, coworkers F too. And basically, he's done. He's this. Da, 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 da. Maurice, you're so dramatic, and you don't even allow people to speak. Maybe you're not ready for a relationship, and maybe you should remain a hoe. But I think that this guy was showing you genuine interest and genuine love, and you're throwing it all away because you aren't ready to mature. What was the next thing that happened that night? Oh, Zach, he goes over, comes home, and Michael's still up. Michael still has not gone to sleep. And he's like, well, we need to get him to sleep at some point because Michael still doesn't also sleep in his own bed. They're still working on that. So he said, but Zach was like, we got to get him to go to bed because at least around 4, we need to do what we need to do. And Fatima was like, I want to pass on that. I'm tired and it's a big day tomorrow. And Zach was like, well, you said that the other night too. Like, yeah, it's just a big case with Hayden and all that. I just need to be there for Andy, da 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 da. Zach gets on the conversation of he went to go talk to Karen and said, about the whole Aaron thing. They're going to be cohesive and all that. And then Zach brings up the subject of, what about you and Karen? Cease and fire. And she's like, well, did you tell her? Fatima said, I don't know, but we can try it out and we can see. What are the chances of them actually working it out? You think women can work it out? I doubt it. The next scene, Andy comes home to Jordan. Oh, beforehand, Andy was talking with Sabrina. Sabrina does tell Andy about what's the current state of her and Rich. And Andy says, that's a good thing. And the rest of the girls and I, we talk about this. And we think that's for the best because there's no reason for you to be having a child. And he don't even want any children, So it's best to just leave him alone. I think they talk a little bit about Jordan a little bit. But anyways, she's cooking and all that good stuff. Jordan comes home. They have a meal or whatever. And then Jordan says, I have something I want to tell you. What's that? I love you. Now, earlier in the day, she didn't want to say it. Jordan told it to her, and he's like, I understand where you're at, da 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 da. But now, all of a sudden, that doesn't make any sense to me, but whatever. I'm not the writer or director. So at this point, they're getting lovey-dovey. All this food, and Jordan starts to pray. He starts to pray like a church man. Guilt got the best of Andy, and she ended up confessing that Penelope is alive and is in the witness protection. Of course, Gary is hearing all of this conversation. So, of course, Jordan's upset, rightfully so. And she's like, well, I couldn't tell you, da 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 da. Whatever. So the next day, as Andy is going into the office, Gary pulls up. And he shows the revealing photos, and she said, those are Photoshop. Oh, you know me, Andy. Everything I produce is real. Sure. Whatever. So Andy was like, well, what do you want? I need you to leave Jordan, and I need you to get married to me, or I'm going to blow this up. and I'm going to tell the cartel in regards to the money for his campaign. Like, I was like, what? How did the cartel get into all this? And anything I say, people will believe. And she also said the whole Hardy Boys thing with Penelope has got to stop. I said, okay. So he says that he's waiting and ready to smell her drawers again. If this ain't a soap villain, I don't know who is, but that's what it is. That's the end of the episode, but I do remember what stuff was leaking online about Andy marrying Gary. I said, Lord, instead of you being truthful, again, Andy, you're doing stupid stuff. But y'all tell me what y'all think about this episode and some of the stupid stuff that was happening. Like, y'all stop. But I appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Please like this video and also subscribe. And again, leave your comments below. Until next week, peace.